Now, the second thing that we're going to do, as I mentioned, is talk about unit rates. Now, a unit rate is just relating things to a value of 1. So things like there are 60 minutes, right, every 1 hour. Again, we're relating those 60 minutes to a value of 1. And essentially, we're saying that that thing would be equivalent to a value of 1, or equivalent to that value of 1, because 60 minutes and 1 hour are really the same thing. They're just in different measurements, they have different labels. So we can use those as what we call a unit rate, because again, they're relating themselves to equivalent measures. So if a car travels 120 miles in 2 hours, find the unit rate in. Well, first of all, the first one just says in miles per hour. So what we want to remember is the word per, again, essentially means division most of the time. We're talking about rates, a rate, something per another thing, we're dividing. So 120 minutes per 2 hours. Or sorry, miles, not minutes. 120 miles per 2 hours. Well, if we just divide real quick, 120 divided by 2 would put us at 60. And again, miles per hour, sometimes denote as mph, miles per hour. And we've got our measurement, or our rate, right? Our rate, two things being divided. But what if, down here at the bottom, we now want to say miles per minute? Well, if we have 60, so I'm just going to go ahead and use my answer from the last problem, miles per every 1 hour. Well, if I want to convert to minutes, well, it's helpful to know, remember that conversion we had up here, that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Now, I want to be careful. If I want to end up with an answer that's in miles per minute, right? Well, then I'd like to keep the miles, but my hope is to get rid of these hours down here. Excuse me. So what could I multiply by that would make the hours disappear, because I don't want hours in my label, but also would introduce minutes? And notice minutes on the bottom of that fraction. Well, if I want minutes on the bottom, and I want to cancel the hours, remember if you divide two things away, hours divided by hours, right? And when we're multiplying, essentially what's on the top gets multiplied. Essentially everything on the bottom gets multiplied. And everything that's on the top that's also on the bottom is getting divided away. So 60 miles per 1 hour. If I can multiply by hours, well, in 1 hour, again, there are 60 minutes. What I can basically do is cancel those hours away. Hours divided by hours disappears, and we end up once again with miles per minute. Well, in that case, then I just need to do the work. 60 times 1 would be 60. 1 times 60 on the bottom would have also been 60. And 60 divided by 60 basically just becomes 1. So again, 60 miles per hour is really the same thing as 1 mile per minute. Well, let's take that same idea. Let's go up here. What if I want that 1 mile per minute, 1 mile per essentially 1 minute then, and I want that to become seconds? Well, again, I want miles, I want seconds. I need to introduce seconds on the bottom. I need to get rid of the minutes. Well, if they're already on the bottom, I need them on the top. So that then, again, I can cancel my minutes. And all I need to do is put in that equivalent measure. Well, we know there are, in 1 minute, 60 seconds. So essentially, there is 1/60th of a mile per second then. And again, we could find that decimal if we want to. But the idea is, again, 60 miles per hour would be the same thing as 1 mile per minute because all we did was convert. We multiplied by something essentially equal to 1, something that's equal to itself, right? 1 hour and 60 minutes, or 1 minute and 60 seconds. When we multiply by 1, things don't change. All three of these rates are basically the same idea. Finally, let's get to the feet per second, a little bit trickier. Let's go ahead and do that. So again, we want seconds, so we may as well use our last answer. 1 mile per 60 seconds. Only now we need to multiply by a fraction that's going to leave us with feet per second. Well, we want to keep the seconds, so that's not a problem. What I'm looking to get rid of this time would be the miles, which in that case I need to put those miles on the bottom. And I need to know if I'm going to convert it into feet, right? I want my answer to include feet. How many miles are equivalent to how many feet? And that's one of those measurements we need to get used to. Again, we're used to things like 60 minutes in an hour, or 60 seconds in a minute, or even 3 feet in a yard. But now what we want to remember, and this is a number you need to know, 5,280 feet are in every mile. So again, I can multiply that 1 by 5,280. I can multiply that 60 on the bottom here by the 1 mile over here. Basically, the ones don't really matter. We multiply by 1, things don't change. But I'm going to divide what's on the top, so 5,280, by what's on the bottom. And if I grab my calculator real quick, 5,280 divided by 60 comes out to an even 88 feet per second. So again, 60 miles per hour is the same thing as 1 mile per minute, same thing as 1/60th of a mile per second, would be the same thing as 88 feet per second. All of those rates being equivalent.